What's going on? Hi, everybody. How are ya? Look at us being cool, doing cool things. Do. How's it going, everyone?
Welcome to Columbus. Have you been to Ohio before?
I did a show at Ohio State University a little while ago, and it was super, super fun. But yeah, Columbus, man, what a beautiful, cool city. And you guys are so cool for coming out and hanging out, especially for the first panel.
Right,
first Q&A.
And these are the smart ones, because I don't know if you pass through, but the line to get in here is ridiculous. So you get the smart ones here who either got their badges early or got here early.
Great job.
Yeah,
Great
see,
job.
like, they're like, yeah. Awesome video to start the day. And
so fun.
And
Paralyzed is a Big Time Rush song, and I covered it with my band, and it was so much fun. And we brought it to the boys, to my dogs, and was like, hey guys, I've been singing on the road and doing concerts and stuff the last couple of years, and I was like, oh, I really want to do a Big Time Rush cover, and they were like, what song do you want to do? And I was like, Paralyzed, and they were like, not yet. We have to put out Paralyzed first, and then you can put out Paralyzed. And I was like, sure, like whatever you want. Like I'm down with whatever. And so they put it out a little while ago, and it's awesome. And I'm like so happy that the song is finally out. And then we went back to them and we're like, is now a good time? And they were like, hell yeah, And they were super, super supportive of me doing the cover. And my buddy Soren Cressell, he played all the instruments on it, which was super rad, and he produced it. And he's like 23 and just like a total fucking genius. And it was rad. And I get to tour with him a lot, which is really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that you put this out on vinyl.
Hell yeah, we did that through. It's actually pretty neat. I brought some that are in my booth.
I was unprepared. Apologies.
Okay.
Look at this.
So on one side,
all over it.
It's the Paralyzed logo, and on the other side, it's me.
You guys can see? Can you see?
It's like an etching of Gustavo on the other side. So we only did like 300 of them, and I brought about 50 here to the cons. So yeah, it's been cool. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to bring with me.
I'm a huge fan of this. This is awesome. Do you see yourself? I know covers are a big part of your life. And,
sure.
In fact, you became TikTok famous with your cover of
this couch is like really comfy. It's like too comfy almost.
Your cover of Crazy.
Oh yeah. So if you guys are on the old internet, you may have seen this trend earlier this year. It was the I Remember When trend, where it's like people would post like their most embarrassing stories or like videos from their, like trying to impress like someone they were dating or whatever. And it would have this track where it was like, I remember when I lost my mind. That's me singing, and my cover of Crazy. And because of that trend, it hit 3 billion downloads in 3 months, and landed me on Billboard for the first time at the number 6 spot, and I stayed on the charts for 5 weeks because of that. And it was like the most. I always want to say that was crazy. It was like the most intense thing. My sister produced the track. She's a singer-songwriter and producer, and Marza Wilkes, the cellist for like Coldplay, like plays on the track, and like it just was like it was one of those things where we like during the pandemic, you're just like, oh, it'd be fun to do this, and then we did it for fun, put it out, and it just went nuts, and everybody, like everyone shared it, and it was it was just it played on Sirius XM for like 2 months, and
6 billion views get you about what, $5 in royalties?
I made a whole $8. No, it did a lot of crazy stuff to my life. Like I got signed by an agency because of it, like across the board for everything. I got to make a new album, and the album comes out in January.
Oh, that's great.
And that's exciting. Yeah, all covers.
Right,
like
yeah,
I don't write original music, but I sing other people's stuff.
And I love the video for Crazy that you did with the Joker. Has anybody seen the video for Crazy? All right, right after this, in fact, put that, no, okay. Right after this, you have to check it out. Very Joker inspired.
Yeah. We did it, I think our budget was like $400. We were like at the height of the pandemic, and I was like, oh, Joker was like super popular at the time, and it was going to come out on HBO. So I was like, oh, let's just piggyback off that, and we'll go make a video where I'm dressed up as the Joker and paint my face and the whole bit in the video. And so we did, and it just, oh my God, it was just nuts. It's like on TikTok, I think just on TikTok alone, the video is like 60 million plays or something like nuts. It's a really cool thing when like you go, okay, like here's the thing. I love singing. I love making music. But my name is Stephen Kramer Glickman. My name isn't The Weeknd, you know? It's not, I'm not like the coolest. I think I'm pretty cool, but I'm not like that cool. Like I'm not Glickman. It's like I sound like I run a law firm somewhere, you know? Like it's not, and I don't, like I'm not a 16-year-old boy with like really good hair, so I was like, this could be, you lip sync, okay, and I'll sing the songs. No, so I've had a lot of reasons. Also, I was on a TV show where I was the funny guy, and then there were the singers on the show, and they were all young, handsome guys. So I have always put it in my head that like this isn't for me. Like I'm not made to be this. And then when we were in the middle of the pandemic, I just kind of was like, well, fuck that. Like, right? Like, why don't I just do it? Like, just do what I want to do. And if like people come along with me, then great. And the fact that they did is like, it's just the best feeling in the whole world. Like, it is so fun. And I've gotten to do some things I would never have. People go like, that wasn't on my bingo card. Like, none of this was on the bingo card, Like, I got to do the halftime show for the WNBA in Las Vegas for 12,000 people. And it was the coolest shit I've ever done in my life. Like, just a sold out arena, and then I just flew home from France because I got to open for the Plain White Tees in France. And you're like, what is my life? Like, what the fuck is happening? Sorry for all the language. This isn't a state where I get in trouble for using bad language on stage, though, so I'm okay.
No, the people are saying no, so I'm going to go with no.
Okay, cool. But yeah, it has been an interesting road for me, for sure,
Is that the sequel where Gustavo goes out and does and does his own thing?
It sure would be nice if that was the sequel. I don't know. I know there's a lot of talk about us doing a movie. I've heard that, and this may answer some of your questions out there, but I've heard that Paramount has offered the boys to do a couple of movies. Big Time Rush movies, which would be really cool, and if that goes down, then I would of course get to be a part of that, which would be rad.
That would be fantastic. Gustavo's like, I have this great young new talent.
Right there, you go. You're perfect for it. Yeah, it'd be very interesting. So I mean, we'll see. We all want to do it.
Right.
Everyone involved, every cast member, we all love each other. Like we're all like obsessed with each other and call each other all the time. So I think it's just a matter of time before we get to do something again together, which would be cool.
Can we backtrack a little bit
Yeah.
on how that became a thing? How you got cast for Big Time Rush?
Oh sure. So I was I was working. I went to an audition. They told me that I was auditioning for an animated show for Nickelodeon. What had happened is I was getting general meetings because I had been cast to play Shrek in Shrek the Musical on Broadway. So I was in New York and I was doing, princess, ogres are like onions, and just, doing, it was me and Sutton Foster and all these wonderful people doing Shrek the Musical. And we were working on the show, and then I came back to LA on break between one workshop and another workshop. And when I got back to LA, I was taking meetings with all these big studios and just being like, maybe someday I'll get to do something cool with you guys. Like, who knows, And I met with Nickelodeon, and in the meeting with this woman named Sarah Noonan, I just kept being the silliest goose. Like, I was doing impressions and doing voices and doing, impersonations of my grandparents and just being so silly. And the meeting came to an end. And she was like, "You're going to work for Nickelodeon for the rest of your life." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure. We'll see about that."
Like, did you go into that meeting thinking that was like an audition, or were you just like, I'm just going to be silly?
No, I'm just like, I've noticed it, like in my regular normal life, I'll end up, like talking in a lot of voices and doing things like, like if you get me started, like sometimes it's like hard to stop. Like I was just in France, and when I was in France, I kept doing a French accent all the time to everybody, and it was like annoying. I was annoying the shit out of everyone in France. Like they'd be like, "Oh, sir, your table is this way," and I'd be like, "I cannot wait for my table," and like you're not supposed to do that, And then I was in New York for a while recently, and like I start, like after like you hear enough voices, you just start talking like this all the time, and you're like, "Let me see the fucking menu. Let me order. Let me fucking order already." And like you just start. I worked for Mel Brooks for 2 years.
I want to talk about that too, because you got another project coming up.
He became part of my voice where you just start doing them all the time, and it's like it becomes a thing when you're like a guy who was raised watching cartoons. It somehow has become part of my personality. So I was just doing this the whole time with Sarah, and at the end she was like, "Oh yeah, you're made for us," And I was like, "Okay, sure, we'll see." And then 2 months later, I got a call going, "Oh, you have an audition for a animated show called Brand New Day over at Nickelodeon." And I was like, "Okay." And I showed up kind of dressed like this, but with like a louder hoodie. Like I had a very bright, colorful hoodie. And I walked in, and they were like, "This is not an animated show. This is a live action show, and you're auditioning to play the manager of this boy band." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I called my manager. I'm like, "This is not the right audition. Like, you said it was a voiceover. I'm not dressed for this. Everyone else is in a suit. Like, I don't know what to do." And he was like, "Just do your big ego guy thing, like where you pretend like you're a big deal, and you brag about stuff. Like it was like a character I would do in The Office. Like I'd come into his office and I'd be like, "How are you gonna disrespect me when I'm the one who told Ice Cube he should stop calling himself Ice Glam?" Like, it was some stupid joke. I have no joke there. I think what I actually said in my audition, because they said we could improvise in the audition, I actually said, I'm the one who told Ice Cube to call himself Ice Cube instead of Ira Shmulevitz, which is his real name. No one knows that, just me. And like the director like fell off his chair and was like, "That's hilarious." And then that was it. Like I was like, "All right, well, audition done," and I left and was walking to my car. And on the way to the car, I ran into Tony Shalhoub from the TV show Monk. And I had worked on the show Monk in the art department as you getting paid, $10 an hour working in the art department. And he was like, "What are you doing here? Are you back on the show?" And I was like, No. I'm auditioning for a thing over at Nickelodeon." And he was like, "I hope you get it." And I was like, "Thanks, brother." And then my phone rang, and it was Nickelodeon. And they were like, "Get your ass back in. They want you for a callback right now. They're bringing in the head of the network to come watch you." And I was like, "Oh shit." And so like I walk back over and I walk in, and the president of the network is there, and Scott Fellows, the creator of the show, and all the directors, everyone's in the room. And they go, "We hope we caught you before you left, so you didn't have to come through the gate again and everything." I go, "Oh yeah, I was on the lot hanging out with Tony Shalhoub." And they go, "What? Why were you hanging out with Tony Shalhoub?" I go, "Oh, me and Schloobs are old friends. We play racquetball every other Thursday." "All right, let's do this audition." And they were like, "What?" And like I just kept making up weird, silly shit in the room, and like I'd be like bragging, like I gave Phil Collins his first drum set. Before me, he played keyboards, and he sucked at keyboards. It's like all sorts of stupid brags that no one would care about, and very much based, by the way, on Will Ferrell's character on an SNL sketch where he said, "I drive a Dodge Stratus," which was like a really funny sketch. And I just loved that like guy who has a big ego and is like bragging about things that no one gives a shit about. And so I was like, "All right, well, bye guys." And I walked out. That was Friday. Saturday morning, I got a phone call saying, "You have been cast. You are playing Gustavo Rocque in the pilot of Big Time Rush." And I said, "Okay." And they said, "Get your ass back to Paramount. We need to do a fitting." And I said, "Okay." And I drove right back Saturday, got fitted. Sunday, they sent me the script. Monday, we started shooting. And then that was it. 5 years of just Big Time Rush.
That happened so fast.
It was literally like that job changed every single aspect of my life. Like nothing, even like Shrek was amazing, but I live in Los Angeles, and Broadway in Los Angeles is kind of looked at like people pretend to care, but they don't really care. So like they're told they're supposed to be respectful to Broadway actors, but they don't know anything about anything when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so I just my life was similar after Shrek, but nothing was the same after Big Time Rush. I mean, that show changed every piece of my world. The only things that stayed the same were a few of my friendships stayed the same. My best friend Matt and I have been friends now for 23 years, and he was with me through the whole thing of getting on the show and doing the thing. And a few other of my friends kind of like stayed with me through it, but not everybody, not all my friends. Right. Some people like couldn't hang and like got weird or started calling me, asking me for money, or right. like doing weird, asking me to be on the show, and I'd be like, some people I got friends cast on the show, but like it would be because it was my idea, not because they were calling me going like, "Oh, can I?" Right.
We call that the "Hey bro." When you haven't heard from somebody in a while, and all of a sudden something happened, and then they go, you get that text that's like, "Hey bro, how's it going?" And you're like, "Okay, yeah."
When Crazy went viral, I am not kidding you, 5 women that I've dated in the last few years asked me to pay their rent. 5 women. And by the way, these people, not people I dated for like months, people I went on a date with and then never saw ever again, reached out and were like, "Oh, what's up?" Like, and be like, "Oh my God, why am I hearing from you?" Yeah, it was really weird. It got weird so fast.
I mean, but it sounds like it was so fast.
Just
a straight rocket. By the way, so we do have our microphone over there if you guys have any questions. So you mentioned Mel Brooks.
Yes.
And I want to talk about Enormous.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. I'll talk about, I'm getting the comfy couch. Yeah. All right, so I've got a cool thing that's happening. It's very exciting. I wrote an animated short film, And that animated short film is being directed by Doug Sweetland, who directed Storks, a movie that I did with Andy Samberg and Jennifer Aniston. And he was nominated for an Oscar for Presto, for directing Presto over at Pixar. Yeah, with the rabbit and stuff. He did that one. And so he's been directing the short that I wrote. And we recently cast Spencer Grammer.
Who's here. He's here this weekend.
Yeah, Spencer Grammer plays the daughter on Rick and Morty. And she took over. She's one of the leads in the short. And then Mel Brooks, who is a fucking legend, came on and is playing a really funny role in it. And Tony Hale, which I haven't announced yet, so I'm telling you guys now. Tony Hale from Arrested Development just joined the cast too. So it's very, very exciting. We've gotten some just extraordinary people in it. And it's a short all about my dog and how much I love my very, very fat pug who is named Jelly Donut. And basically, it's about a guy who went through a breakup in 2020, ding dong, and basically had to like rely on his dog to be like an emotional support animal. And I don't know if you've ever met a pug, but you're a pug's emotional support animal. So for her to suddenly have to like step up and like be my support animal is hilarious, and it's really cute, and it's great because every day I get to talk to the animation studio in India and the studio in Mexico that we're working with that's drawing her, and hear them, give notes on what her teeth should look like and stuff like that. It's like I just love it. I'm obsessed. So it comes out next summer. Next summer. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can do a showing.
Oh God, yes, of course.
We can get Spencer to come up here with us.
Oh, well, I would love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, she's doing a lot of shows with us with GalaxyCon and Animate.
She's so cool.
Hopefully she can come up here and show that off with you.
She plays my ex-girlfriend in it that breaks up with me. And I'll tell you what, reenacting my breakup almost word for word with Spencer freaking Grammer from Rick and Morty is not something I will ever forget. Like, it was shocking. And like, I was like, this like hurts kind of. It hurts more coming from Spencer Grammer than it did from my ex. Like, holy God, she's such a talented actress. Who's got questions? You guys got some questions? Come on, you can ask me literally anything you can think of. I'm an open book. I promise you. Get weird. Like, let's get weird, can we? We're an intimate group. What's up?
Hi,
Glenda?
What's your name?
Hi, my name's Haley. My question is, if you could assign a candle smell to Gustavo and all of the Big Time Rush boys, what would it be and why?
Oh my God.
It's my go-to.
That is a damn good question. Okay. I'd say for me, it's an oaky smell.
Okay.
It's like a tree, like an oaky tree smell. Like fresh, like a fresh oak tree. In the early morning. I'd say Tanya Kelly. I'd give her like a nice lavender. She's got very calming vibes. Sierra Bravo, little tiny Sierra Bravo. I'd say like an orange zest, like a zesty orange, little tropicalness, something that lights you up. James, I'm gonna give him sandalwood. Yeah, that kind of works.
James was my top
Okay,
one.
Kendall, I'm gonna do an ocean, like kind of an ocean smell.
Yeah.
A little earthy, maybe. Logan, peppermint. I'd say a little peppermint twist. And Carlos,
I'm really making you think.
oh
See,
God,
right?
yeah, I'm searching. I'm gonna say the smell of like a like cinnamon, like a cinnamon smell. Is that a thing? Does cinnamon smell like something?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There we go. How about
All right.
that?
Thank you. Yes.
By the way, I classed that up so much. Like I could have said horrible things, but I'm being so nice.
Hi, what's your name?
May.
Hi, May.
What's up, May?
Thank you. I was like, it's really short. Mine's also a go-to question. What do you think Gustavo's favorite breakfast food or cereal is?
Favorite breakfast food, Gustavo's or mine?
You can answer both.
Okay, well, my favorite breakfast food is freshly baked baguette with some lox and maybe some eggs happening and some chicken sausage, maybe something like that. That sounds pretty good. Gustavo's favorite breakfast is a big old giant bowl of waffles. I think just like 2 pounds of waffles. That's he could really eat that guy. Yeah, waffles, Belgian waffles.
Any toppings, syrup, or?
Oh yeah, syrup, strawberries, no chocolate chips. I'm not yeah,
Thank you.
of course.
Speaking of food, so Gustavo had a fridge full of pudding. What would you have a fridge full of?
I would have a fridge full of Snapple. I'm a big Snapple guy because I like the little quotes. I like the little quotes on the inside. I like to learn while I'm refreshing myself. I don't know. I have no idea. It's such a silly question. It's so good. Yeah. I keep my refrigerator at home pretty well stocked with different types of pudding as well. So who doesn't like that? Yeah, and cold pizza. God, I have emotional problems. Yes. Hello.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Lindsay.
Lindsay!
Hello. Hi. So, if you were to be casted as one of the boys, like in Big Time Rush, which one would you try out for and maybe successfully be that role?
Ooh, gosh. Probably. I feel like I could have Kendalled it a little bit because I feel like a bit of a leader among my pack. I've got a pack of guys that I do all sorts of projects with. So I feel like Kendall was like a leader, and I feel like I could have been kind of like that a little bit. I never was very good at dancing, though. Never been a good dancer. So I don't know if I would have been passed on that. But yeah. I'm definitely not a James. God bless that boy, but no, never been that pretty. Carlos, I'm not a helmet guy. Not much of a.
But do you like corn dogs though?
I do love corn dogs. It's like you know me too well. Yeah. And Logan, too smart for me. Yeah, but I do love all 4 of them so much. And Kendall. I'd be like a Kendall, I guess. What about you? What would you be? Katie. Very cool. Very cool. I think you could. You have good sass. All right. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Blake.
Hi, Blake.
First, I gotta say, Carlos is always the best, and will be the best.
Fair enough.
Sorry, I gotta pull my thoughts together. I'm not great in front of a light.
You got this. It's okay.
So, how does it like voice acting for like major companies, and then watching something, hearing your voice back?
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun because it's the thing I like about animation is that it's very collaborative. Collaborative?
That is a word.
I think that's collaborative.
Collaborative. It's collaborative. I like it because you go in, I'm on the show called Hamster and Gretel right now on Disney Channel. So I go into the booth and then they go, and action. And I don't know there's no video, there's no nothing. There's just, I've seen a drawing of what the character kind of looks like. And I just go, I am the mud singer, right?
Like
and they
the
go, and
Skeletor.
cut, great job, right? And then I go, okay, bye. And then I go home. And then 6 months later, that voice has been sent to animators and people in different countries, and then riggers and all sorts of people, these people who rig characters' movement in things, and then slowly, it gets to, animatic, and then to the final thing, and then it is on television, and the music has been added and the whole bit, and you're like, there's like 200 people that worked on this from the time I did my little silly voice to the time it comes out. Very different than television acting, like on camera, where the camera is rolling, whatever it captures right then and there is the thing. So if you don't give a good performance, that doesn't come out on, like whatever you give in the moment is what ends up being on TV. It's very different with voiceover, where they can just play with it and use half of this cut and the other half from this cut. And sometimes you work on animated stuff and then they fire you and replace you with someone more famous, and that happens all the time.
I've auditioned for a few things, and that's happened.
Yeah, it sucks.
Not even like big stuff, like indie stuff for YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times they'll use people. Broadway does the same thing, where they will use someone that's not famous to work out the kinks on a project and get the voice to match and sound good and get everything, get it to where it needs to be, and then they go, "Hey, you're fired," and then they bring in Josh Gad, And you're like, I almost, in Storks, I almost lost my job to Jonah Hill. And it came right down to it, and it was, I'm super, super, super lucky. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who did Spider-Verse, they were our producers on Storks. And Phil Lord told the president of the network, of the studio, of Warner Brothers, that if they were to drop me and replace me with Jonah Hill, that it would ruin the movie. They're like, this character, we've built so much around the way that he's playing this, it's going to screw up the whole thing if you bring in someone else. If you bring in anyone else, it's not going to work. So we're too far down the road with Steven. So I got to keep my part. But in the same breath as that happening, they let go of the actress who was playing the mother and replaced her with Jennifer Aniston. That's movies, baby. Like, that's just how it goes. It's that industry is it's crazy. It is a crazy industry. So you just got to keep trying. You just got to keep putting yourself out there.
Quick humble brag. You follow my girlfriend on TikTok.
I do. What's your name on TikTok? Oh my God, Lindsay! How are you? How cool is that? Oh yeah.
She wouldn't tell you, so I had to.
Well, thank you for doing that. That's very cool. I know. I love the TikToks.
I can't get it. I can't do it.
What?
I just can't do it.
Dude, it's hard to make the TikToks.
Right.
Like, making the TikToks, I'm still in my head about whether you put, how much effort you put into doing the things. And like, I was getting on the airplane to fly here, and it was, not to be like humble brag, but like this year I've performed or done shows in 43 cities. So this year has been 43 dates on the road, right? Which is a lot. It's a lot as a human being to be always out. Of those 43, twice I've flown first class. Most of the time I'm in the back, right, in coach, right? I don't care. I'm asleep for most of the time. But on the flight here, I flew first class to come here. And I was like, I'm going to make a video showing off all the cool stuff in first class, and I'll put it up on TikTok. And it'll be like, I'll do it in Matt Berry's voice from What We Do in the Shadows. And so that way I can just be like, yes, check it out. Right now I'm having warm peanuts. Delicious. Just how daddy likes. Like I was going to do that. And I get on the flight and I'm like getting ready to do it. And the guy next to me goes, so what kind of work do you do? And I go, I'm a singer and an actor and a voiceover. And he goes, oh, you're a singer? I go, yeah, I sing and play piano. I go, what about you? What do you do? He goes, I'm the drummer for Sugar Ray. and for what was the other band? It wasn't My Chemical Romance. It was another band like that. Good Charlotte. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, phone down, and I didn't capture anything. And I spent literally the whole flight asking him questions about what it was like to work with all these people. And I didn't even realize Mark McGrath was sitting 2 seats in front of us on the airplane until we landed. But I was like so obsessed with but it was like, yeah, so I wanted to capture everything, but it's like sometimes you just have to like live in it, you know? And other times you want to try to capture as much as you possibly can. But God, I'm not that good at making the content, but I watch TikToks. I'm always on the TikTok seeing people's stuff. It's so much fun. Yes!
Hi, I'm Ebony.
Ebony, we met earlier.
We
How
did
are you?
meet. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So, Big Time Rush had some fun guest appearances, especially on their music, like Jordan Sparks and Snoop Dogg and stuff.
Sure.
Did you get to interact with any of them on set? And if you did, do you have any fun stories or a favorite song of a collab or anything?
Wow. Well, okay, all right, we'll get into it. We had some really great people.
Yeah.
Jordan Sparks is a good friend because of being on the show. I'm obsessed with her, love her. I saw her recently, and she's just utterly the most talented, wonderful. That's one of my favorite songs. Count on You is one of the best songs.
One of the best songs.
So well written. The music video is so classy and well put together. She's incredible. I love Jordan. She's amazing. Who else did we have on the show? We had Fabio, the male supermodel, who is one of my very close friends, who I got on the show. I kept going, we have to have Fabio. And then for the table reads, I would read as Fabio. I would do the impression of Fabio. So and then, every once in a while he'd show up to the table read and be like, Steven, you have to let me do my own voice, please. Stop making fun of me. Come on, guy. And I'd be like, Fabio, come on. Let me talk to the ladies. He's the best. Jeff Ross, the stand-up comedian, good friend of mine. I toured with him all over the U.S., and I was in his special. I did his first 1-hour special at Comedy Central. So he came and roasted me on the show, which was so rad. Same thing with Bobby Lee. I put Bobby Lee on the show. And I also put Freight Train on the show, a guy named Big Keys. He was 7 feet tall and 500 pounds, and he was Snoop Dogg's bodyguard. And what happened is I was like, you got to have a bodyguard on the show. We should have my friend Big Keys, who's Snoop Dogg's real-life bodyguard. He's also Britney Spears' bodyguard, Christina Aguilera's bodyguard. The guy is a very famous bodyguard. And he's a great actor, too. And so they were like, oh, cool. And so because he was on the show, Snoop's kids watched their bodyguard on TV, okay? And then they were like, Dad, you have to be on the show. And so then Snoop was like, I'm going to come and do your Christmas episode. And so he did. And so then Snoop came to our set, and he turned to me on the set, and he said, and I am not going to do an impression of Snoop Dogg because I don't want to get canceled. But I will say the words that he said to me, and this is what he said. He said, yo, dog, I heard that you hooked up my boy Keys with a job. And I said, that is true. And he said, well, guess what? Tonight when we rap, I got you. And I said, oh yeah, what'd you get me? And he said, no, I got you. And I was like a jet ski? What are we talking about? And he was like, no, we're gonna smoke. And I was like, oh my God. And I immediately did the coolest thing ever and called my mom. And I was like, I'm going to smoke with Snoop Dogg. And my mom was like, I am so proud of you. And so then that night, I went to my dressing room and waited patiently, and Snoop Dogg came into my dressing room, and D-O-double-G shows up with an iPad, a candle, and a baggie with pre-rolls in the baggie. And the pre-rolls are about this long and about as thick as my thumb, okay? And I go, oh, are those medical marijuana joints? And he goes, these are military marijuana joints. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And then he lit the candle, and he was like, gotta set the mood. And then he turned on his iPad and started playing Enya. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Enya, but they had one big song, and he played it on repeat. And it was the song that was like, who can say where the road goes, where the day goes, hold me tight. And I was like, why are we listening to Enya? And he was like, I always get fucked up to Enya. So then he hands me this big joint, and I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, I'm going to take 2 hits, and then I'm out. You know, I'm not a big smoker. So I was like, I'm going to do 2 hits and then I'm done. And so I take it and I do 1 hit. I do 2 hits. And he goes, yo, son, it's puff, puff, pass. And I go, I know. I just did puff, puff. And now I'm going to pass it. And he goes, you've been smoking that shit for 15 minutes. I go, I have? And he goes, yeah, and you have both. And I was like, I do? What the heck? And he goes, when's the last time you smoked? And I was like, 11 years ago? And he goes, oh shit, you're gonna die tonight. And then I did the coolest thing you can do, by the way, where I just started crying in front of Snoop Dogg. I don't know if you've ever seen a grown man cry in front of Snoop Dogg, but guess who hasn't seen that? Snoop Dogg. Because he, to this day, I have seen him 5 times since we wrapped that show. Maybe once every 2 years I've seen him. And every time I see him, if there's people around, he'll go, hey, tell him what you did in front of me. And then I'm like, I cried. And then and he's like, and why'd you cry? And I'm like, because you said I was gonna die. And then he's like, ah! And he's done it in front of Floyd Mayweather. He's done it in front of the Ludacris, a bunch of people. It's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. But he remembers smoke. And you, how many times has he smoked weed with other people? Probably, millions of times at this point, right? Guess what? With me, he remembers it, because I'm memorable and I cry a lot. So there you go.
Thank you.
I just also want to say that you should get paid for helping them cast so many people.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I will tell Nickelodeon you said so.
All right, so we have time for one last question here.
All right.
Hi,
Hey!
I'm Ashley. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
So I know you've done a lot of crazy stunts and costume changes in the show. What was your favorite, or what was the craziest thing you had to do?
The craziest costume change? You know what? I'll say this. On the show, not that many that totally stand out, but I was on an episode of a show called The Really Loud House on Nickelodeon, and they offered me the role of this character called Marty Milkshake, and I was like, yeah, sounds great, I'll do it. And the guy was like, oh, well, let me send you the script so you can read it, but it's like a straight up offer, not an audition. I was like, I don't give a shit, I'm just do it, I'll do it. I love you guys, happy to be back at Nickelodeon, little cameo, I'm super in. He was like, well, let me send you the script. I go, how many lines is it? He goes, 5 lines. I go, I don't give a shit. I'm like, I'll be there, okay? So I fly to Albuquerque. I go to the set. I have not read the script, okay? Didn't even cross my mind that I should look at what 5 lines I'm doing. It's 5 lines of dialogue. That's a half day, and I'm done. I get paid. I fly home, right? I walk onto the set. They go, all right, let's shave that beard. I go, excuse me? They go, we have to shave your beard. I go, why? They go, because you're a drag queen? I was like, I'm a what? 10 minutes later, clean shaven, giant pink dress, gigantic wig on the set, playing a drag queen. So, read the script, And then I had to come back to LA with no facial hair. I looked like a young Dick Cheney. It was rough. It's not a great look for me. But yeah, thank you for that. That is a real thing.
Thanks for sharing.
All right, you bet. Hey guys, I'm gonna be in the thing at the table. Come to the table. Come see me. Come say hi.
You grab one of these records.
Yeah, you can grab a record. I've got pictures and little Gustavo pins, and I have little mini Gustavo like figures that I 3D printed and then painted myself because I'm crafty. But I love you guys so much. If you see me out there, come say hi. And I'm doing free pictures with any purchase or videos. If you have a brother or cousin that love the show, I'll make them a little Christmas, hey, happy Christmas or whatever, video. Or
Speaking of pictures, you guys want to take like a big group photo here?
yeah.
Oh, fantastic. All right, so if you guys want to gather up by the stage, not on the stage, by the stage.
Yeah.
We're going to take a little big old group photo here to commemorate this occasion.